event is in here. Just letting you know. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, dry throat. Yeah, really. So for a second. Hello, everybody. Hang on. Everybody, hang on. Yes, I'm not diseased. I just choked on my water bottle. So, oh goodness. Yes, but I feel now every cough, every sneeze, every little throat clearing now is scary, isn't it? All right. Welcome, everybody. Lee. Hey, hello, Miranda. Hi, Miranda. Welcome. We just met in the campfire. In the info zone. Wonderful. So, how are y'all doing? I love that you're here. How many of you are here only because there's nothing else to do in your company or your school was shut down? Be honest. Give me some hearts. Come on. Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, welcome to AltSpace. We're going to have a good time today because not only are we going to teach you the basics of how to present here in VR, but we're going to have a great deal of fun. And one of the fun things that I will be mentioning again in just a moment is
that nobody cares.
Really? Do you care?
Not really.
You don't care? Well, talk to me about what would make you care.
Because I just joined and I don't really know what we're talking about.
Well, see, that's just a matter of illiteracy, because if you read the event description, you would know. If you looked up on the screen behind me, you would know. And if you just asked, you would know. So I'm going to let you know that one of the things we're going to do here when we're talking about speaking is one of the challenges we have are people who are trolling, who are disruptive or purposely disruptive, and they don't know what's going on. If you are one of those, welcome, because we're going to have so much fun with you. I swear we will put the spotlight on you and give you attention, because that's one of the challenges that comes from presenting here at AltSpace. And we have an example right off the bat. So do know that you will be kicked and removed from the event, but I will highlight you. I know we have a lot of people who are either lying about their age or are the younger scale is on this adult platform, and because they are home from school. But do know that AltSpace is an adult social and events platform, and we love that you're here, but we're also going to make sure that we have a peaceful event here.
Thank you for the first question. Handling these is very important.
Exactly. Handling the kids and handling the crowd, and that is part of what it means to present and speak here in AltSpace. So about this, and I want to. We do this not only because I want to be the center of attention. No, we do this because it allows us to hear the speaker and to hear the presentation, and I think that's really, really important, because it just puts everyone on a fair balance, and we don't have distractions. And I'll be talking more about this in a second, so just letting you know. So my name is Lorelle. I go by Relle here, but you can call me either one. And I'm the co-founder of Educators in VR, and this is Speaker 101, and we're going to be talking about how to present in VR and in AltSpace. I'm going to offer you a variety of tips based on quite a few years of experience. So Educators in VR hosts many different events, including the Educators in VR 101, Immersive Classroom, and we do our own series to other platforms, virtual platforms, Omnium Space, Roomy, everywhere. And we'd love to have you meet up with us there as well. Educators in VR is dedicated to helping teachers integrate virtual and spatial technologies into the classroom, but also helping you to teach in VR and use AR for your education and to meet with others. We just finished the Educators in VR International Summit, which was a record-breaking event, mostly thanks to the amazing volunteers here in this community and around all the VR spaces. It hosted 170 speakers and over 150 different events across 5 different virtual platforms, and we had about 6,000 event attendees. That requires some serious emojis, folks, so get those emojis going. That was an amazing accomplishment and the largest of its kind. And now that the COVID-19 virus has struck, we're being besieged with event production help and things like that. And so help you to share your legacy, share your information, share your knowledge in virtual reality and learn how to do that. Now, I just had a little choking on water bottle, so now my nose is running. I'm going to cough a little bit. I choked on my water bottle, but please, every little cough is now, or crack that nose is now classified as potential disease. Do not fear me. All right, in virtual reality, there's other things you can catch, but viruses aren't on the list. Now, to start out with, and throwing portals is also not allowed. So everyone, look, this is a portal. We hate these things. They're great in a public space, but they're very, very bad in an event. So Jay, I'm going to give you one opportunity to hit it and hit destroy right away. Beautiful, thank you. So if you do throw a portal, do know that an event host has the right, or the moderators, to remove you instantly without any warning. So please don't go crying and going, I got kicked out for no reason. And Jay, I can tell you really don't want to be here, so I'm going to help you. I can tell. All right, so do know that if you are a troll, if you decide to be disruptive, use you as an example. What learning to speak in VR is all about. And I know you all are with me. We can't stand it when people be disruptive. All right, so what we do here when we start an event is we be welcoming. So many of you came in. I said hi. I said, hey, Norman, nice to see you. It's been a while. Hi, welcome back. Been too long. All right, and Alexander and all, we be welcoming, and we just hover over people's avatars or click on their avatars and we see their names, and then we can say hi to them and welcome them. Be welcoming. This VR stuff is weird, isn't it? You got this thing on your face, you're sitting in 2D, whatever it is. It's weird. Make people feel comfortable. How many of you are new here and this is your first event? Give me some hearts. Give me some emoji hearts if this is your first event, first time here in VR. See, look at how many, look around the room. You're not alone. Look around the room. You're not alone. There are other people here that this is their first event. And I'd like to apologize for this being your first event. No, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a very good time. So what I just did was an example of inviting emojis. Because you're muted, you're muted, and I'll do that in a second. Because you're muted, these emojis are our responses. So we have the opportunity to respond to the speaker about how we feel about what they're saying. So I asked a question, then I asked people to respond with emojis. You can laugh. You can say, that's sad. I agree with you that this is a bad idea. Whatever it is, invite those emojis. They help you as a speaker to get the feedback because you are talking to literally dead silence. And it's really weird to have complete silence. So those emojis make a difference. So I want everybody to hammer on emoji, any emoji, hammer on it. And listen. Hear that popping noise? That's the same as applause. It's the same as cheering and laughter. So as a speaker, you need to understand that that's the sound for feedbacks. You know, when a comedian tells a joke and then there's silence, that's a horrible feeling, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, I just laid an egg. This is the worst thing kind of joke to ever tell. I will never tell this joke again. The problem with working with mute all is we get no audio feedback. And the first time that I said something that was really, really funny, there was silence. I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. So what I learned was, number one, to listen to those emojis and to encourage those emojis. So when you say something funny, go, well, that deserves some giggles, doesn't it? Yeah! But more importantly, you laugh. So when you say something funny, you laugh, and it makes the audience enjoy it as well. So say something funny, give a giggle. Yeah, people love it, and they respond. So it's a great way to create, number one, engagement. Number two, interactivity. Use those emojis as interactivity. Now, why do we mute? Why do we mute? Well, first of all, it's to make sure that you have an uninterrupted experience. And it really, really makes a huge difference. Because nothing is worse than being at something, you've all been at events where somebody's or over and over and over, and it's like, just please take a throat lozenge, or you end up handing people tissues and things, or sneezing effects. But here in VR, every sound that is in your environment comes through the microphone. So we get to hear radios, we get to hear all kinds of background noises, lawnmowers, sirens, and it's really disruptive. Airplanes flying over, that's what I get every once in a while. But also one of the sounds that we don't like hearing is somebody throwing open the door and then saying, why do you have that thing on your face again? Take it off, it's stupid! So, I don't want to hear that. So make sure that you mute your audience if you need to. There are times when you have a small meeting, you don't have to. You can have it be, if everybody's cooperating and everybody's playing nice and you're not having assholes in there, then it's a great way to stay connected and to, you can turn off the mute all and have everybody be speaking. But right now, it's not the atmosphere for that. Now, the next thing you need to do is make sure that everybody can see those slides and video on the screen right here. Can everybody see them? Give me some hearts. Yay! Now, one of the problems we have, oh, I love it. One of the problems we have is that different devices have cache systems. So if you've been to a lot of different worlds or playing a lot of games, you've been doing Beat Saber and all the other stuff, and then you will often have some glitchy problems and you will not be able to see the slides because they're not loading in. If you can't see it, it's not our problem, it's yours. Ah, ha, ha. What you need to do is just go to that big circle with a triangle and hit the re-enter button on the settings. That will usually clear your cache memory, and you will be able to see the slides. So you can let the speaker know that you can't see the slides. The problem is that they likely can, and so can other people around you. So sometimes there is an issue and the space needs to be reset. So just start right away by asking if everybody can see the slides, and if they can, move on. Because remember, you're pioneers. We're pioneers here. This is brand new stuff we're doing, and we got to live with some of the technical glitches that happen along the way. Now, before you step up on the stage, or the moment you do, there's some things you need to do, and I'll go over this a couple times. First of all, you got to get those emojis turned on. We love those emojis. You got to hit that host tools button that will appear if you are a presenter, and you need to amplify the voice. Now, I'm speaking, and I have the amplify voice on, the megaphone on. When I turn it off, can you hear that I'm getting quieter, even though it's harder to hear me, right? Yeah. Okay, so make sure that when you get up on the stage, that thing is turned on. And now there's a current bug that's in. This is only for the next few days until they fix it. They may have already fixed it with the latest update. Sometimes that goes off. So I recommend you keep that host panel, the host tools up, and look over and glance at that megaphone button and make sure that it's blue when you are presenting, and so that people don't start sending up frowny faces because they can't hear you. All right, so I'm still recovering here from that. Hang on a second, I'm going to blow my nose because I had water. I choked on water. Hold on. Now that's another way we're kind to our audience. When you are coughing or blowing your nose, mute yourself. All right, so just so those who came in late, I had a little choking event on water, so I'm still recovering. Now, make sure that you turn on the audience participation button. And what that does is it allows questions and answers. Now, I will be taking questions soon, but right now I'm not. But you should all see that button pop up. Everybody see that? This is not a way to raise your hand. This does not work. This is for people who are in 2D to go high five, because we don't have any hands or arms. All right? So that does not ask a question. What helps to ask a question is to hit that raise hand button so that you can then be added to a list. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But I want everyone to hit that raise hand button. Get it out of your system. It is not a toy. It is a tool. So everybody hit it. I'm not going to call in anybody right now, but I want you to hit that button so you know how that works. Because this doesn't work. What works is you hit the raise hand button. Oh, oops. Now that's something that commonly happens as you try to click the different controls and things here, especially when you try to click the emojis and you're up on a stage, you will fly across the room. Just jump back up on the stage and relax. Don't freak out and don't have to explain it. It's just something we all know that does happen, and I tend to do that quite often, so I just did. The other thing is if you are using front row, and I'm not going to talk about that much here because that's rarely used and it's only for huge, huge events, and the events team will go through that with you, but you need to have on air turned on so you're seen in mirrored rooms. So just letting you know, that is one of the tricks for using front row. So make sure when you step on the stage, you've amplified your voice, you have the audience participation turned on or off, whatever you want to do, and you hit that on air button if you're on front row. And make sure those emojis are on. Now, I'm not going to spend much time on this part. This is how to create an event, but I'm going to offer you some quick tips because we often hear, oh, nobody shows up to my event. Nobody's here. I don't have any audience. How do I get more people to my event? Well, I'm going to answer that question. All right. So first of all, fill out the events form on your computer. Do not try to do it in Word. Too much typing. Okay? Seriously, too much. Do it on there, and there's a button there, hit it right away, that says options. That opens up all the stuff you're required to fill out that you can't see because they've kind of designed it weird for mobile users. Hit that show additional options. It's very important to see everything you need to fill out. So here is the basic steps for creating an event. And I want you to pay attention. This is one of the $1 million things that you're going to learn today. So if you create a meetup presentation, don't ask to have it featured. Just do it. And see who shows up. Talk to them. Find out what are they interested in. What do they want to do on your topic? And then try this a few more times. And when you're ready, because it will evolve. Everything evolves. Everything changes. Take their advice, listen to them or not, but make it your own, and when you're ready, then ask to have it featured. Because it's really, really important that we get the bugs out before we ask to have it featured. Because nothing's worse than having it featured, having it on the Oculus calendar, and then people show up and you go, I want to talk about how to chew gum properly. There's a lot of people here interested in chewing gum. Okay? Doesn't work. All right? So make sure that you know what you're doing and you know, work out the bugs. There's a lot of steps to this process, and then ask to have it featured. But test the environment because it's so important that you really get practice, you get experience here, you understand how this all works. So you don't have to deal with the audience and then try to remember all the buttons to push. So practice makes a big difference. And then when you're ready, when you've really tested it, you start to have people coming back over and over again. You start to build a fan club. Make sure you create a website. You also can add forums or use Discord to create a community so you stay in touch in between events. The conversation doesn't stop and start here. It continues on outside of the events, outside of AltSpace. Maybe do a Facebook group. Discord is what we really, really love. So take advantage of that and keep your community thriving. And you will find amazing connections and amazing people to keep, to thrive on whatever your passion is. Now, be really, really really specific with the title and the description of your event. Relle's chat means nothing to you, does it? Relle's going to chat. What's she going to chat about? I don't know. Am I interested? Not a chance. Don't care. Don't care what Relle has to say because you know what? Don't know what Relle's going to say. Be specific. Now, I know some of you who are back here for the nth time of me doing this, or you've come to the AltspaceVR 101. I want a knitting meetup here in Altspace. Seriously, I love knitting. I knit for shit. I am horrible at it. I love people create somebody else who knows how to knit, create a meetup on knitting. Seriously, I'll be the first person in line knocking at your virtual door. Honestly, I really want to know how to knit better. But I'm not the person to run it. I don't know anything about it. But I want to learn how to do this better. And you can have a knitting meetup. So Relle's chat doesn't mean anything, but VR Knitters United or Knitters for VR, whatever that happens to be, tells me exactly what you want to talk about, and it'll bring all the knitters out of the virtual woodwork so that we can show up and learn together. And that's so important. So be very specific and then use that description. Just go, we're going to hang out. Not a good description. I don't want to just hang out. I don't have time to hang out. I'm too busy teaching and working and getting to know other people on a more serious level. Describe what your group is about. It is so important that you use that description field to let us know what it's about. And you who are attendees, read it so you don't arrive at a meeting or a group or an event and you go, I don't know what this is about. What is this group about? So many times that'll be your first question. Read, okay? Because we put work into create. We want you to know what they're about. Started, okay? Clear graphics. And all the instructions are right there for the size. You make it specific and make sure you test it to see how it works in the different views. Okay? That's important. And serve your peeps. Truly, if you have a knitting group, don't be talking about the COVID virus. I'm sorry, not interested. I'm here to talk knitting. Okay? Keep it on topic, but find out what your people want. What do they want to learn? So in a knitting group, maybe they want to understand what fair aisle knitting is. Find out what they want. It's not about you, narcissistic you. I'm up on the stage. It's all about me, 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 me. About your audience. Pay attention to your audience. Feed the audience. Make sure that they're there for a reason and that they want to be there. And you know what? I found that by really getting to know the audience, I found speakers. I found ideas for topics because I'm giving them what they want. We're feeding them. And that's really important to understand what it is that your audience wants to know. And honestly, in doing Educators in VR, we wanted to help educators learn how to integrate VR and spatial technologies into the classroom. We wanted to give them a platform to teach in VR. And because of the timing of the International Summit and the COVID-19, we're now in the production business. So if you are interested in producing, converting a real event into a virtual event, or you need help with your virtual event, please contact Educators in VR. Not what we signed up for, but it's what we're doing because that's what the audience is demanding right now. That's what our members want. They need help with that. So we have an event called How to Produce a Virtual Conference coming up later this week. We're also doing our Speaker 101 series. We're also doing hosting and moderation training because we want to help you produce your own events to bring your students in to classroom experiences in VR. We want to help you do this. So we've listened to the audience and we've listened to our members, and that is so important. So serve your audience, and it makes a huge difference to build your community. Now, what can you not teach in VR? Think about it. I want you to really think about it. What can you not teach in VR? Anything that requires pen and paper, you can't do, right? How many want to take notes right now and are screwed because you can't take notes? Yeah, Mark, you want to take notes because Lorelle's brilliant. She's saying good stuff. You don't have anything to write with. Anything that requires pen and paper, it's a pain in the ass. It doesn't happen, except unless you're me. So what does she do? She's looking at VR, testing it out a few years ago and going, what could I teach that could really push the limits and really, really test this? A creative writing meetup. Yeah, of course. So, oh, well, there you are. Okay, so I have a creative writing meetup. We meet every week. It's meeting in just a few hours. And we started out writing to prompts. So we give a prompt and then we tell everyone to, push up their headsets right in the real world and share in VR. Makes sense, right? Right in the real world, you can just push that headset up and then right in the real world. And then I have a timer after 3 to 6 minutes. I make a lot of noise. You can tell I'm a noisy person. I make a lot of noise. They can hear it through their headphones. And then they come back in and they share what they've written. It's brilliant. It's creative. It's great until we find out. Anybody using an Oculus device, there's a sensor. The Oculus Go and then the Quest later on has a sensor in the forehead. When it sees light, it turns off your device. I would watch the people in the audience go poof, 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 and disappear because their device would turn off. I thought they just didn't want to be here. No, find out their devices are turning off because that sensor is seeing light. Again, this is new technology. We have to understand how it works. So after several weeks, somebody said, my device kept turning off. Oh, really? Why? Found out about the sensor. So guess what our very sophisticated hack was? You take black electrician's tape and cover up the sensor. Okay? So silly. And people did it. They were using their thumbs. Somebody was using a coin. We had to work with the limitations of the device. Now, Oculus has created us the ability to control your auto wake and your auto sleep. So we have a single one of our meetups. I have to waste time explaining the technology to people. I have to say, I'm so glad you're here and thank you. I just want to remind you that we write in the real world and we share in VR. So please take a moment to go to your Oculus settings if you're on the Go or the Quest and make sure that you say blah, 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 blah. I have to waste like 3 minutes per meeting to explain this. But we are still pioneer days. So anything that involves reading and writing sucks. So we find other ways to compensate, and that's by keeping our topics simple, keeping things on task, training our audience, and then recording these things so that they can be then shown on our video channels. So find your own way to push the limits, but anything that requires pen and paper, you have to use some serious imagination and take into consideration that the devices are working on that stuff. Hate that. So what does work in VR? Social, meetups, remote learning, watching. Anything that involves eyeballs and voices works. So
I think she froze. Yeah, she'll be back. There she is.
Yay, thank you. All right. Diamond, was that you?
It was me.
Oh, okay. All right. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Diamond, for jumping in. Okay. So welcome to one of the things that happens. The internet has started being a little on the glitchy side where I am, and so timeouts happen every once in a while. But that's part of the lessons we learn. And you know what is beautiful about having the community is people like Diamond step up and say, I'm here to help. And I'm here to make sure that this works for you. And it is a beautiful thing. So thank you, Diamond. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you should have all rights in here, don't you, my friend? Let's make sure. So just let you know these things happen, and you need to be aware that these things happen, and that means you need to have backups. So Diamond's one of my great backups here, and there's a few others that are here. So make sure that you have moderators and backups to help. All right, so again, watching and remote and voice and things like that really make a huge difference. Now, when it comes to creating an event, many of us want to have custom event spaces. Stop it. For right now, until you know what you're doing, use the template spaces that are provided by AltspaceVR. Okay, some of them suck. This particular one, everybody wants to jump up on the rafters, but I've had to customize it so you can't. So go on and try. I don't care. We'll just call attention to you. But because remember, we are pointing out anyone being disruptive and trolling because that's part of the lessons we learn about presenting here in AltspaceVR. So just know that you likely will be kicked, but more importantly, we'll call attention to you as proof of concept, all right? Because we know y'all want to be disruptive. All right, so choose an event space that works for you that is one of the template spaces and experiment with them. You can create an event, you can then go into the event, play around with the spaces, but use one that's already created. This particular space will accommodate up to 80 people. Most it's down to 30 because there's bandwidth issues that happen when multiple people are in a room. So it really helps to use the template space. You start creating your own space, you start creating problems because your own event space needs to be approved by the Altspace events team to then help set a room requirement. How many people will fit in the audience? And that's a long conversation, but just start out with this. Start out with the templates because once you figure out what you're doing, then you can build a world and work with the events team to get it, featured and deal with all the issues that are associated with it. But people want to learn from you. They want to share their knowledge with you and they want to download your brain. Okay, come on. How many people want to download the experience that I have about presenting and doing events? Y'all want that knowledge, right? And I'm doing my best, along with my beautiful team, to share that information with you. But that's what you come here for. You don't care where we're meeting. We could be out in the middle of a field. We could be high flying up in the air somewhere. You don't care about where we are. What you care about is the content. And I want you to remember that. You, as an enthusiast for whatever it is that you're stomping for, whatever that is, and want to share that energy. We want to share your enthusiasm. We want to know what you know. So bring us you. We don't need the slides. We don't need the gizmos. In fact, don't even do slides. Don't even do video. Don't do anything for the first 10 times while you figure out how you're going to do your event and how you're going to make it work. Okay? And it really makes a huge difference. So hold off on the custom spaces until you've been doing this for a few months. And above all, share that passion and enthusiasm. And don't pick a topic just because you're doing homework, have some mild interest in it. Choose something that you're really passionate about. I love teaching. I love helping people to step up and have their voice be heard and to share their legacy, share their history, share their passions, share that enthusiasm, share that knowledge. So Educators in VR and the projects that I work on help people do that. And you're here living my dream because I want you to take this knowledge and I want you to get out there and start sharing and talking about what you know. Because this is what I tell my students. If you have the passion to be heard, we'll forgive misspellings and grammar. We will forgive the fact that you don't know how to control the slides. We'll forgive that you don't know how to move around in VR and then jump out into the audience. We'll forgive all of those things, that you losing internet connection for a second, because you've shared your passion. And we want to be a part of that. And that's so important. We'll forgive stuttering. We'll forgive a lot of stuff. And because we want to be here, we want to be a part of what you're doing. Oh, I shouldn't have to have this slide up on the screen. But we still live in an age where people become terrified to stand up on stage. And so they get their script and they go, I'm going to talk to you about the biomolecular stance of the... Oh my God. Please talk to us. Share with us. Honestly, I cannot tell you how important that is. Share. Make that your motto. Because talking is boring. Reading is boring. And research shows that when it comes to VR, I want everybody to just kind of look around at each other. Everybody look around at each other. Look around each other in the room. Come on, turn around and look at each other. You're all funky cartoon characters. You all look goofy. Okay? Honestly, it's really weird that we're all cartoon characters. Now, what we found is that there is, so here, how about that? Does that work for anybody? Okay, we can be anything we want as these cartoon characters. But this is what we found, is that research shows us over and over again that it doesn't matter in VR what you look like. It really doesn't matter. Voice matters. Voice dictates emotions. Now, a lot of people are going, oh, yes, but I can't see your facial expressions and I can't see your body language. You know what? We can hear it. We can hear when you're tense because this bloody audience will not sit still and they're jumping all over the place. They're moving around and they're just being distracted. We can hear it in your voice before we see it in your body. So learn how to use your voice. Take voice lessons. Do whatever that you need if you're uncomfortable with your voice. But pay attention to your voice. Film yourself. I know y'all hate hearing yourself, but record yourself as well. Because voice really, really, really overrides and overrules body language. So use how to use it. Learn how to speak quietly. Learn how to raise it. Change the tone. Change the volume. Maybe be high-pitched. Maybe be low-pitched. Play around with the voice to entertain your audience and to convey your message. It's so important. So think about how important that voice is, because honestly, we don't care what you look like. And that's a great thing. I don't care. I want this butt. Everybody want this butt? I want this little skinny virtual butt, okay? In real life, my butt ain't quite that little tiny. It doesn't matter what we look like. What matters is who we are and how we show our passion and compassion for each other. And that's so important as we balance. So use that voice. And as she rolls on too long, shorter is sweeter. Please make 1 to 3 points, not 100 to 300. Honestly, don't try to give us an entire thesis in 1 hour. It doesn't happen. Now, before I go on, excuse me, my nose still plugged from choking on the water. Hang on. All right. No, not diseased. I'm going to, again, I'm going to turn this on and turn this off for our questions. So you can see, for those who came in new, how we handle questions is through the question queue. I've just turned on the question queue. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, or maybe you want to answer, I'm up for all of it. I'm not me. I'm still the redhead guy. I'm sorry. Let me go back to me. I don't know, which me should I be? There, okay, I'll be me. I'll be this me. All right. So if you have a question, hit that raise hand. Oops, it didn't come back on again. Allow raise hand. There you go. Hit that raise hand button. And what will happen is your name will be added to a list. Then I will call on you and have you ask an intelligent question about what we're talking about. John, you're on the air. Hey, John.
Hey, just an observation about your point about the frustration about not being able to take notes while one is attending something. I mean, very frustrating. So one of the ways that I solved that, not related to AltspaceVR, but I'm sure it would apply here, is to use my phone and have a recorder running. So if things come to mind, I just, orderly make a note. And, thinking about it, and I haven't tried this, but we all have Alexa and Google available, and I'm going to try that to say, Alexa, make a note and, make a memo and, whatever. So just thought I'd share that.
Beautiful. Great advice. See, that's part of the inventiveness of how, we learn to get around the technology. I love it. That is a great piece of advice. I love it. So, Gangsta Ga.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Gangsta Gaming. I don't know what we are talking about.
We just said that. All right. So this is something that happens all the time. So again, I'm going to repeat for everybody. This is Speaker 101. And we're talking about how to present in VR. So before you enter an event, make sure that you read the title of the event host works so hard on writing and processing every single word because you only have so many letters and characters you could have to make that point on there. So please take time to look and find out, and then don't embarrass yourself by asking what's going on here. Not that you did. That was a great question, and I get to use you as an example because we're here to learn about what it takes to present, and that's one of the first questions we often get. So I love it. All right, Stan, how about you next? We'll take just another question, and we'll keep rocking here. We've got some stuff on videos and slides to talk about. Stan.
Yep. Well, I've been looking at doing some historical worlds that would be walkthroughs as a presentation.
Oh, God, I love
Now,
you.
do paid by the event staff for size, or is that only for featured?
If they are not featured, it's okay. It's what they need to become approved for size performance issues. But also know that if you just choose to create some worlds that are educational, that have tours of things, make sure you do the inside of the building, not just the outside of the building or space. Like for example, we have Notre Dame here, but you can't go inside. It's invisible when you go inside. So we would like to have full spaces. And Educators in VR actually has a team of people that are working on cultural and historical preservation and VR, really recommending these VR sites and things so that people can tour these places virtually and understand how they all work.
Yeah, these are
So
all outdoor historical sites. They're actually battle sites. So
excellent, even better. I love it. So that would be fantastic. So you can create those as events. Don't ask that. Until the event team has a chance to look at them. You've been doing them a while and test them. And yeah, do it, but let us know what these are at Educators in VR because we are sharing them with our teachers tomorrow afternoon for North America time, where we're going to be talking about having teachers come together and open to schools and the apps and the world. That is brilliant. Do also know if you do build worlds, every Wednesday, the World Building Tour Showcase highlights a whole bunch of fascinating worlds from all over AltSpace. We work with world builders to highlight their world, go with us and talk about how they built the worlds. We also do theme worlds like all underwater. That was an amazing tour. All the worlds that are underwater, all the worlds that involve water, all skulls and skeletons is a real popular thing that we pull out. All the worlds that have cemeteries and things like that. So make sure that you contact myself or find us on Discord or just let us know. Daisy Shaw and Karen666 help me run that event every Wednesday. And we'd love to put your worlds and have you do a tour of all the worlds. It'd be awesome.
okay, thank you.
See? I love that. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Stan. And thank you for doing that. Okay, so I'm going to turn off hand raises. I'm going to get to more questions here in a minute. I want to get to some of the meat and potatoes here of how to do presentations and things. So again, my name is Lorelle. I'm the co-founder of Educators in VR, and this is one of the series of educational programs that we're doing to teach you how to present your own events, especially now in VR and in AltSpace. How many are familiar with a broadcast clock? Give me some hearts. Anyone familiar with this? It's used by radio and TV to set up a schedule that allows people to or tells your event host and whatnot to follow. This is where the commercial is. This is how long you have to babble. We throw in a network break, etc., etc. The events in VR follow about the same thing. We found that half an hour and 1 hour events are the norm, but they're not actually half an hour. They're not actually an hour. The first 5 minutes or so is spent making sure that everyone is welcome because everybody is late and it makes us crazy. So I try to start my events at the top of the hour, but people are always late. So you have some welcome time that starts at the beginning to make announcements and stuff. Then you have the presentation time. Technically, it's 20, maybe 30 minutes that you have to present. That's it. And then you should have interactive Q&A, as I just did. and have an open discussion. That takes us to the meat of it. But in reality, an event usually ends at about 45 minutes after it starts. That's when people start thinking about the next what's going on, and so that squishes down even further. But along the way, you will also have glitches. So I just timed out. My internet just timed out a few minutes ago, and I disappeared, and then I came back. You need to, and so this little blue section here is really important to have padding to make sure that you have enough time to get through the event. It makes a big difference when you allow for that. Now, what we found in the research is that engagement in VR, if you cannot grab the attention of these virtual people and keep their virtual bites in 12 minutes, they're gone. Now, that's an average. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's a little longer. But 12 minutes is what the research is showing us, that you need to really keep people engaged for that long before, and then they'll last time, and then they can keep going. Why do people exit an event? Usually it's because you're overheating or the batteries are going out. Now please, save us all. Don't say, raise your hand and jump up and down and go, hey, 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 pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, and hammer on the question cue thing. And then we call on you, and then you say, I'm sorry, don't think I'm being mean, but I need to leave because my phone is overheating. Get the hell out, don't tell us. Having melted down a few phones at much expense, when you see that overheating on your device, get out now. I'm not joking you. Because that is an expensive cost, and besides, the stink stays in the house and in your office for about 3 or 4 days. Don't do it, okay? I speak from experience, so, but don't tell the event host, we know these things happen. They suck. It really, honestly, you don't have to persist. So if you're overheating batteries, just go. So the best length to think about when you're timing your event is around 30 to 45 minutes. Now, it may be booked for an hour, but think about that as that's the meet time you have to connect with people before their batteries go dead, they overheat, or they just are bored. Okay? Just part of the process. And practice. Set up a private space and practice in it till you feel comfortable using this whole space. Set up some instant events. Do game or video, or do the holograms get humanity or something, and learn how to moderate and control that experience, because it's really great and it's brief and easy to do. But practice. Get your friends in for a private event. Practice. Now, y'all are told to back up your computers, back up your hard drives, back up. Same thing applies to presenting in VR. Learn how to function in 2D. If your headset goes, have a backup. If you present in 2D, which I tend to do a lot because I have a lot of things going on, which I'll talk about, I can also jump right into my headset if I need to. So have alternatives. Have 2 headsets. Be prepared. I actually was at an event a couple years ago. And the power went out. I lost power, electricity, net, everything. And I grabbed my laptop and headset and I raced to a nearby hotel, and I sat out in my car and I connected to their free Wi-Fi because we could do that then. And I was able to get back online in just about 15-20 minutes. And you know what? The audience was still waiting there for me. It was amazing. So be prepared. Summit. Daniel, who's also the co-founder, he's the co-founder of Educators in VR. They were having massive storms hitting for Wales, and he bought a backup generator. And he didn't have to use it, but it was there ready to kick in if he needed to keep things alive. So have backups. It really is important. And have backups for people as well. So when I timed out, Diamond was here to help cover for me. I love that. Now, presenting in 2D and VR, learn both, again, as backups. But we often have many things to control and a lot of things to do when we're presenting. We have Discord chats going on. We have the slides to control. We have, all kinds of things that are happening. And so often presenting in 2D is a really valid option. It's hard often to present in 3D with all those things. You both. Learn how they both work, become proficient in both so that you are ready for whatever happens. Okay, there's no good or bad, it's just all possibilities. If you go, even if you're on your HMD, a VR headset, or you're definitely in 2D, get a good gaming headset. Make sure it covers your ears completely so that we don't hear the echo, and that you really test it out and have that microphone handy and ready. It makes a huge, huge difference in the audio experience. Now, slides and video. This is what many of you are really want to know about, how to do the slides. And I do an event that is totally dedicated to slides and video because there's a lot of things to know about. But the first thing is practice those accessibility standards, the POUR, perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust laws that are part of our legal law system when it comes to protecting accessibility. I don't have time to go into all of that, but here's an example. This is from VER, V-E-E-R TV. Now, I zoomed in, and I tried my very best to read after the person said, I'm not going to introduce the speaker. You can just read all about him up on the slide. And I could not read anything about this person on the slide. Not a good way to do this. So, doesn't work that way. Here's the tips. Here's the $1 million tips. You need to have dark backgrounds and light letters. The science and the research shows us that if you have light letters on a dark background, it makes people tired. If you have dark background with light letters, it doesn't. But they need to be big text, big images, few words, big images, and high contrast colors. Hard to see that last line, right? You have to deal with video eye issues. Video. VR only supports YouTube. Don't care what your platform is. It is YouTube. YouTube doesn't know that we're streaming YouTube in VR, and so it doesn't play very well here. So if you're going to just do a video event, use a playlist. Okay? Many tricks in that. If you're going to do a conversational experience with video, embed through links or embeds the video directly into the slides and use the slides. Keep video to 1 to 3 in a presentation. I prefer 30 seconds of video at the most, 3 minutes max, because people are here to talk to you and to each other, not to win. If they're there to watch video, playlist. If they're there to communicate and to talk and to share, less video. It makes a huge difference. Slides.com and Google Slides are the only presentation tools that currently work without a whole lot of fuss. In general, Slides.com is preferred. More stable. It has many more remote control features than Google Slides. Google Slides tends to be a little bit glitchy because, again, these companies do not know that we are using these things in VR, so therefore they are not, people blame AltspaceVR, but guess what? It's not AltspaceVR's fault that a third-party tool is not working when the third-party tool doesn't even know that we're using it. So keep that in mind. This is the example of a remote control with Slides.com. You can use the presentation thing to send you an SMS message. You click on it, it opens up this controller, you hit those arrows, and you can control the slides. Many people do that when they present in 3D, and they can just hold their thumb over the button and advance those slides. Now, this is what it looks like right now when I'm presenting. I have 3 monitors. Trust me, I use every one. And if anyone knows how to get me more without buying another graphic card, I would love it. Please see me. So I have the slides on one. I'm presenting in 2D. I have Altspace in the center. And then if I have scripts or notes or Discord or whatever open, it's open on the 3rd monitor. I will often flip between them as I'm going to answer questions that come in through Discord as people watch the live stream. Or if there's live streaming, I can respond to questions. It's like flying a bloody airplane. There's a lot of buttons and a lot of wheels and triggers to do. That's why I present in 2D most of the time, because I have a lot going on behind the scenes. So right now I have about 15 messages that are waiting for me in Discord to respond to. associated with this event alone. So be aware and pay attention to these things. And this is why 2D, be versatile in 2D. You do have an in-world browser. So this is where Relle loses her entire audience as they start to watch porn. Look on your big circle dial. You will find browser button. If you click on that, open it up, you now will have your own personal browser. You can bring up your notes. You can bring up the slides. You can log in, slides.com, and you can control the slides that way. Do you know there's some latency? It can take about 4 seconds between you clicking and something happening up on the screen. But that's another way you have of adding your notes or scripts or controlling your experience through the web browser. So use the tools you have. Again, there's many, many things that you can do with slides and with video. I don't have time to cover them right now. But do know that with slides, you can create them in PowerPoint and import them. You can create them in slides.com or Google Slides directly. But be aware that both methods mangle the slides, and VR headsets mangle them even further. And this is an example of a screenshot of a mangled slide. It doesn't take a clean photograph of your PowerPoint when it imports. It actually applies web-safe fonts to your, as it imports, and it changes your whole fonts, and it changes all the directions, and it just makes a mess out of everything. Danielle, I've been very worried about you. I recommend standing still, because you're obviously having some orientation issues, and it's becoming a distraction. Thank you. All right. So be aware that you may have to fix your slides as you go. This is just really important to pay attention to test before you show. Okay. Now, behind the scenes, remember I told you at the very beginning, when you step up on the stage, you need to turn on those emojis. You need to turn on the host tools. You need to amplify your voice and turn on that audience participation. And this is what it looks like. So this is the participation panel. So when you do ask a question, this is what it looks like. Now we've asked again to have this made transparent because it blocks your entire view. It's not cool. Don't like this, but this is where we're at. New technology, it's changing all the time. So when you do raise your hand, we'll see you on this list and you can call on people. Do know that event disruption is inevitable. But like today, most events have a very welcoming audience. You are amazing. I love it. I haven't had to pick on hardly anybody. You're no fun. I wanted to pick on more disruptive people. You're no fun. Okay? Most audiences are absolutely amazing. But shit happens. You know? It happens. But this is a quote from the AltspaceVR community standards that I just really love. We are all new to VR at one time. It's amazing how far calm and kind communication goes with people who are, this is the money phrase, perceived as behaving badly. So people who are jumping around and moving, like Danielle, I know that Daniela cannot control her, think she's moving around. I know her. I know she's having technical issues because she wants to be here, but she couldn't control it. So I'm not going to kick her because I know that. Most of us really, it's about perception. That's all we have. So I know people like Pep up above is hovering up in the sky because he's on a quest and can, or she is on a quest and can do that. Doesn't mean you should. Do know that if you are hovering an event, it is often grounds for being kicked from an event because you're usually blocking the camera. You don't know that many of these events, this one not, but many of them are live streamed film. So when you're you block the camera. You also block the can, doesn't mean you should. So be aware. Is that worthy of a kick? Them nicely by messy, and they refuse. We'll get to that in a second. So watch out of perception of behaving badly. Because somebody standing in the front and waving their hand over and over and over again is really distracting to the presenter, but the audience may not care, or it may be disruptive to the audience. You need to make that decision for you because you get to control your event experience, all right? So now I'm going to turn the camera around, and this is what y'all look like. This is what it looks like to be up on the stage and presenting We got people moving all over the place. We got people roaming around, jumping around, teleporting around. Are any of them causing problems? No. But unlike a regular presentation where you're in the real world and people have butts and chairs and they're not moving around, people like to move in VR. They want to jump around. They want to teleport. They want to go all over the place. So here's what you do. If people are bothering you with the movement, because again, this is your show, with all the hand waving and all the stuff going on, you can say, hey, if you want to be moving around, if you want to be twitching and fiddling and whatnot, head up on the balcony. You can still hear me, and the view is great. If you want to not be distracted by the people who are moving and shifting and twitching around, move on in close so that you're not distracted by them. And then you get to control your audience experience so that you're not bothered by all the people that are jumping and moving and twiddling and fiddling. Make sure that the fiddlers have a place and a space. Okay? Now, very quickly, because we're coming to an end here, and I want to make sure I get to your questions, so we're all going to run just a tad over. My apologies. We don't have anything else up on the event schedule right away. When you are a moderator or an event host and you have moderation capabilities, this is how the name to text message anyone in the audience through the host tools or also individually. So I can send everyone a message in here, okay, and now that's going out to everyone. And so that's a great way to share links and to share information out to everyone in the audience. Use it carefully because it does get in your way and it is fussy. But individually, when you're moderating, you can send a message to somebody to say, please put feet on ground. Please find a place and plant it. Please, you're being distracting. Use please and thank you as best you can. You're being distracting to the audience. Please settle. Thank you. Be kind. And it requires typing. Typing is easier in 2D. Just know that. There are some shortcuts, but I don't have time to cover those here. Mute all. Ability to mute individually all turned off, and you are talking as a group, and somebody suddenly has a blast of noise or their phone's going off, you can reach over it, but you can mute them in the moment. And Kick removes them to it used to be the campfire, it's now. We're debating if they're going to switch back to the campfire, so I left that up on the slides. And that removes them, and they can't. They're then on the block list. Sorry, they changed the name. It's not a blacklist, it's a block list. And unless they're removed, which you have the right to do so, if you accidentally remove somebody, you can add them back in if you want. And every once in a while, people go out, event hosts will clear that list to give people another chance. It's up to you. It's your event. So moderation is really critical. If you use the people who show up for your events to be the moderators, because they're the trusted people, but also look at your business partners, your students and friends, and you can also ask in the Altspace Discord to get help for moderating events. Now, Diamond is one of my moderators here, and I think she's left, so I am the whole event by myself, which I can do because I know what I'm doing, but you will learn. You can do it. You don't need a moderator if you know how this works. All right. Here's the next big money tip. If you want to get someone's attention, you either show them something they've never seen before or show them in a way they've never seen it before. This is really important. We haven't seen that clear picture of the Sasquatch, even though Bigfoot is making an appearance again. Still waiting for that proof in the interview on Oprah Winfrey with Bigfoot. Haven't seen it yet. But you know what's amazing is most people haven't seen much in virtual reality, which is a new way of showing people things. So again, I'm waiting for that knitting. People tell me you can't have a knitting meetup in VR. Why not? Show it to me. Bring it on. Test the boundaries. VR is a way they've never seen it before. And above all, break the rules. This is not your ordinary classroom. Break the rules. Don't believe anything I just said. I've only been doing this for too many years. Break the rules. Push those limits. Find ways of really pushing it forward and see what happens. And work with the Altspace events team. They are amazing right now. They are overloaded with all of the real world events that are converting to virtual. And so don't expect a fast response right now, but normally they are very, very responsive and they're absolutely brilliant. And, oops, that's left over. All right, you can find out more information about educators in VR up on the screen. And so now I'm going to turn those questions back on. And their prof, do you still have a question? Mike Mojo, do you still have a question for us? Dear prof, do you have a question? Dear prof, Mike Mojo, you're unmuted. Okay, your audio doesn't appear to be working. Or is he talking and I can't hear him? Anybody else hear him? Give me some hearts if you can hear him. Nope, sad faces. All right, Mike, you either may need to, or dear prof, you may need to re-enter or something and, or fix that audio. Pep, hello, thank you for being the target of my explanation of why you should not hover. Thank you for being patient with that. Do you have a question, Pep? Pep, do you have a question? Okay. Pep, do you have a question? Nope. Okay. All right. So, all right. Pep's off the list. Great. Okay. Stan, did you have something else you wanted to add? And thanks for that great tip.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for doing a great presentation.
Thank you.
One thing you may want to look into is a program called Voice Attack. And basically you press a button, you say a word, and it will type for you in any program. And it works XVR. I use it all the time. It's called Voice Attack.
Cool. Excellent. See, love all these tips. These are wonderful. And keep them going. And please, join our Educators in VR meetup. We love stuff like this to help, especially when it comes to educators. It's so, so important that we share and learn and this knowledge. I love it. Michael, you're on.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Yeah,
yes,
everyone
we
hear
can.
me? Yeah, is any
Yes.
recommendations regarding 360 video?
Engage VR.
Okay. So how would that work? Would you be able to show the video and everyone will be immersed in the 360 environment at the same time?
No, that's a questionable thing. You're not immersed, you're just watching a flat screen that is curved.
I see.
So yeah, it doesn't make anything 3D unless it was recorded in 3D.
Right.
It does, it's just taking a flat screen and making it 360. And so it's actually really uncomfortable because you're like watching it like this. So it has to be filmed specifically with that in mind for a 3D kind of experience, and can be done with a 2D camera or with a 3D camera, and it's wrapped around. So Altspace currently doesn't support it because it crashes mobile devices. And Altspace is trying very hard and doing an amazing job at being an agnostic platform. So it supports not only Samsung Gear still, even though Samsung Gear isn't supporting Samsung Gear anymore, but Samsung Gear is still supported, Oculus Go is still supported, and as well as up to the HoloLens and the Valve and the Index. So so catering to that wide device range means that we have to cater to the lowest denominator, and 3D video is not available in Altspace, but it is in many, many other different virtual platforms. But they're working on it. It used to be here, but then the devices, there were more tethered devices than there were mobile. Then consumer mobile came out, and it's caused a change. So awesome. All right. Jordan, you're on. Funtime 3444. Jordan, you have a question? Jordan, I'm going to give you another chance. So if you do click the button, make sure it's not a toy. If you have a question, all right, Jordan must have clicked it by accident. Gemini, you're
I was wondering, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wondering about the hovering. You said like some people request hover. For example, I've hovered with us, but I don't know how to control that.
The left thumb controller puts you on the floor. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great. Okay, Farid, you're on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, actually, I have a few questions, but I'm gonna keep it short. So, the first question is, how can you stop people from hovering over you? Because being a presenter, I don't want people to text me and the pop-up come of me.
You can't.
Is this your host? Oh, for example, yeah.
No, the only people who can message you are friends or people who are in the event space, and you have to learn to deal with it. When people have a question, because it's another way of interacting, a way to get a question. So anyone event host, don't mean that they should, but you can also set up rules and say, please do not message me, and train your friends not to message while you are presenting. And you just have to learn to live with the distraction. Just like when I'm teaching, one of the things that makes me crazy is when a student is sitting in the front row and they're knocking their foot is tapping against the table, or their pen is tapping. Oh my God, I hate that. Okay, you want to make me crazy? That's the way to do it. Okay, and I want to say, stop kicking the table. And it's nervous twitch. They can't help it. So it's like that. What else?
Okay, another question, is there a possibility to have a whiteboard in class?
Nope. There's many efforts have been made to make one, but it's very hard to draw in VR. There is a way that you can do a Google Doc. You have to add it has to be in an event. You have to add Google Docs link to the domain links. I'm getting into technical stuff here. You have to add it to the domains listed for the event that whitelists web pages so they can be visible to the audience. And then you can bring up a document, and it can be a shared document, and people draw on it, whatever they want to do.
Okay.
But you're doing it through the web browser.
Yeah. For the slide that we just presented, or is it?
No, we'll be recording this. Okay. We'll be recording this soon, and we'll be putting it up in our Educators in VR channel.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Let's see who else. If you have a question, just hit the Ask Question button, and I'll add you to the list. So Anyo Cha, is that right? Did I mess up your name? Anyo Cha?
No, it's Ayano Chan.
Oh, Chan. Okay, Ayano Chan. Okay, hello, welcome.
I have a question about for beginners with the Oculus VR headset.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
It only has one controller, and I don't know how to like.
It's called the Oculus Go.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
How can we get around to other places and without having two controllers?
What places here in Altspace?
Yeah.
There are no limitations. Okay? No limitations at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else have any questions about how this all works? Just hit the raise hand button. I'll do my best to not look like an idiot and help answer those questions. All right, CJ. Oh, I love your avatar, your little profile picture. That's beautiful. CJ.
I was just wondering how you amplify yourself as the host. I was seeing that you can amplify the audience, but I was wondering how you amplify yourself.
Sorry for flashing screen up here. All right, so this is what the host tools look like. Can you see? Okay, and then one of these has a megaphone on it that's sitting right here.
Okay.
And when that is turned on, then that amplifies your voice so everyone hears you equally.
For some reason, for me, it only shows amplify all in that line of
when you're hosting an event?
When I'm hosting an event, yeah.
Where are you seeing that line? Right there on the host tools?
Yeah, where yours says amplify my voice, it says amplify all.
I would I would take a screenshot of that and I would report it because there's
that's a
something
bug.
odd. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it's just a bug. Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's
I was
very odd.
wondering
It's never
why
said that
I
yet.
couldn't amplify myself. I was trying to amplify myself the whole time. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Now you can add if you want, and I've done this for certain events. You have the ability to add megaphone only as a contextual role to everyone in the audience. So if we're touring worlds, I will add that to the world, or I add it to an event that the world is being brought into the event, because it allows people to explore the world and still ask questions in a normal tone of voice. And so you do have that. I do not recommend that you do it for most events. Those are very specialized things. But it's been invaluable to do when we're touring worlds, to have that ability. All right, Farid, yes, hello again.
Yes, hi again, sorry. I have another two questions, if possible. The first question is, how can you put an image on the tripod that is on your left
How do I put
to customize? Yeah, because there was alt talk before in the default room.
Oh.
So how to customize this?
Over
And,
here?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
click
ban
on
for the
it,
event, yeah.
their nickname is called Projo. And so it becomes, if you are the event host, it will tap into your photographs that you've taken or uploaded to Altspace. And so when you click on it, you can control it and you can change slides. So
Okay, so you need to upload a custom image to Altspace
yes, you have
first.
to upload it, and let's see what I can do. I can do, okay, there. And so you can literally do a slideshow through images that you've uploaded. I
Right,
don't know what
okay.
that is. What is that? I don't even remember taking the picture. Anyway, that was a recent picture.
All right.
Okay.
One more question is, when you people, how can you deny them from unmuting themselves?
The mute all is the control that is
okay.
up there on the screen. It's the top button up there, and that mutes everybody like it does right now, and it mutes them all. Then you
All
can
right.
choose to question and answer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm hearing that you're really excited about this and you want to do an event. What is your event going to be about?
I'm here with my professor, he is in the back, Professor Antoine. I'm a PhD candidate, and we're trying to see if this would be suitable to conduct a class online.
Oh, fabulous. It is. I teach many of them on here. And again, join the Educators in VR Discord. Excuse the flashing screen. There's the information on it. And we have over 1,000 educators, learners, and passionate enthusiasts and researchers that are talking on that very, very subject. And we have a meeting tomorrow. Today we have a meeting, a workshop, our weekly workshop is coming up in just a couple of hours with Michael Zhang is going to be talking about the Dunbar's number, which is a theory that we cannot maintain more than 150 relationships. This has been going on for thousands of years, and he's trying to see how virtual reality changes those relationships in his research. It's just absolutely brilliant. And then we have we have a meeting tomorrow on doing event hosting and moderating, and also a discussion on how to use VR for education, especially in this time of isolation. And so we have a whole team of educators that are researching and looking and finding ways of creating meeting spaces and what apps to use and what works and what doesn't and how to control costs and devices and blah, 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 blah. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow too. So you're in the right spot. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to both of you. I'm so glad you're here. Fantastic. All right. Okay, we have a few more questions, and then I'm gonna shoo you on your way. So, Denai, hi, you're on. Denai? Is Denai still here? I don't see Denai. Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Oh, hello.
Hi.
You're here. Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I'm using a Gear VR with a Samsung, and it's a pain to move around. And it's my first day in Altspace. Actually, I heard about education in VR because a friend of mine actually presented in the summit a few weeks back.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you can things with the Gear VR because it's lagging, it's kicking me out, it's overheating.
I know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do trust it. I burned up 2 of my phones with the Samsung Gear VR. So first of all, make sure that it's fully charged. You can also, I know it's a joke, but you can actually take frozen peas and strap it onto the back of the phone, and it does help. Don't use the cover that came with the Gear. Make sure that that cover is off. And honestly, I've done the frozen pea thing for years. It was hysterical. Just don't move your head fast because the peas make a lot of noise, and suddenly you have noise coming through your microphone. But frozen peas keeps your phone clear. If you can pop off the back, if you're using like a Samsung 7 or something like that and lower, you can pop off the back. You can't do it with the newer ones. And that does help to keep it cooler. So, and there are other things you can do to help keep it cool, but do know that is a serious issue. But to move around, if you look on your circle dial, you will see a motion option, and it'll allow you to teleport or walk. That makes movement much easier. I tend to walk more than teleport, but you can flip back and forth really easily. And then, yes, you can do it, just you have to time it. So when I was teaching with the Gear, I actually would wait until the doors open 3 minutes before the event, and I would come in at 1 minute before the doors open. And then I would try to teach my event in like 30 to 45 minutes because I knew that battery warning would come out and come on. And so then I'd have batteries, stuck on my, the peas stuck on the phone. It was hysterical. I wish I had no, I don't wish I had pictures, but you can do it. It's just part of the technology that we have these issues. But good on you. And do think, the Oculus Go and the Oculus Quest. The Oculus Go, I'm sorry for Go users. Oculus has already stopped using it for enterprise, and they are likely in the next year to stop supporting it. And Samsung has already dropped support for the Gear. We have to make changes. There are some new fascinating devices that are coming out that are within the 200 to 500 price range, which is expensive, but so is a mobile phone. But prices are coming down by bit because it used to be you needed to spend a minimum of $2,000, and now the prices are coming down. So I'm glad you made it here. So fabulous.
Thanks.
Invest in frozen peas.
Which kind of a head? Right.
A headset, yeah. So headsets, I recommend
great, thanks.
whatever works whatever works for your face. When you are looking at presenting and teaching and spending a lot of time in VR, please test drive the equipment, borrow people's, whatever it is, and make sure that it's a comfortable experience. I picked up my and you can find a lot of used equipment out there as well that isn't very old. I have a Windows Mixed Reality, and I picked it up because the person who had it for 6 months, and the head, it didn't fit the shape of their face, and they actually would get blisters on their forehead from it rubbing. And I went, well, send it to me. So anyway, I picked it up cheap because it didn't fit their face, and they found something else. So do experiment and test with other people. Make sure you wipe it and clean it and sterilize. But anyway, do test it to see what works. And, go to VR arcades once we're done with isolation and test those. And then pick something that fits your face, that feels comfortable, and that does what you need it to do. If you need to teach in Engage or work in, let's say, High Fidelity or some other enterprise level virtual workspace, you have to have a tethered, a much higher level device hooked up to a computer. Quest is the one that we recommend the most, but it's also problematic. So teaching in 2D, skip the mobile phone, teach in 2D, come into 2D until you're ready to invest in something else, but find one that works for you and meets your needs and takes you to where you want to go. Just like a good car. We just recently, last year, I'd buy a new car because the other one blew up. And it was like, I don't know, do you want one that does this and this? I want one that makes my butt feel comfortable, because I've been in cars where I'm uncomfortable driving. don't want to be in a car that I'm uncomfortable driving, and I needed to get me where I want to go and get me back. And, you know, that's basic criteria for anything. So think about how that all works. So great questions. Thank you. Okay. All right. Couple more, and then we're going to close this up. All right. Alexander, how can I help you?
Hello. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I have two questions, actually. The first one is it possible to share your desktop here in Altspace?
Yes and no. So there are apps that will allow you to do it. You can also beam it up onto the screen using your browser that's in the big circle menu. The problem is that you need to set up your event space to have it whitelist the domains. So on the web page for your event, you need to make sure the domains you're going to use work. So I have been careless, and I will put like slides.com, Google Docs, and things like that. And then somebody asked me a question, and I brought up Wikipedia, and Wikipedia wasn't whitelisted. So I would be talking, going, yes, this according to Wikipedia, blah, 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 blah. Then turn around, and all these sad faces greeted me, and I found out that people couldn't see it because it wasn't whitelisted. So you need to make sure that whatever you do bring in is whitelisted, and then you can use either the beaming feature or you embed it. There's many, many ways of doing that.
Okay, and the second question, are you using some custom extensions for Altspace during your events?
Like what? No, I'm not.
Well, so as I understand, Altspace has its own SDK for creating extensions, and maybe you can imagine that you can create some kind of tools that can help you during events, maybe for networking or so on. So
well, scripting is not allowed in Altspace because for security reasons as a Microsoft product. And the MREs, the mixed reality extensions, I don't know if they'll do that, but if you can do that, and that's brilliant. I would love to know more. And the SDKs and things. Do you realize that every time you add something into the environment, this has been a thoroughly tested presentation environment. So we have very low levels of people crashing here. And so when you start adding things, then you have issues and it starts to add lag and it has performance issues. And C, to say I'm going to the K-kit or I'm going to add some whatever it is, be aware that it does add to the, I'm going to give an example here. It does add to the weight of what's going on, and it causes issues. And so some of you might get some lagging when I do this. But I've just added a big orca. And so you can do things like this, but just be aware that Altspace can cause all problems with, let's see here, let's do, let's see, is he going to turn this way? There you go. So there's the orca, okay? Hey, how many people can do that in a presentation? Come on, some applause. All right. I thought he was, go. There, okay. But it does lower the performance. So it's just something you have to be very aware of. And now everyone's going to pay attention to the orca, not me. So it is really fun to do those things, but in small groups, you can do that. Just be aware it does lower performance issues. All right? Okay, thank you. Now let's see if I can get rid of the orca, because he is a beautiful distraction. All right. Okay. Now, a couple more questions. Anthony, and thank you. Great question. Great question. Anthony, you're on.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much. That's really fantastic. Actually, I came in a bit late, but my PhD student is in the room. So he was asking you many questions.
Yes, Farid.
But I'm wondering really if, actually I'm in Italy right now, and so urgent that we can move to online teaching, you know. because we are in lockdown. And of course, I'm too much interested into how we can teach and engage students, in a much more efficient way where they can enjoy and where we can interact with them so they can learn better. So I'm wondering, because I'm teaching a course that needs a lot of interactions and we need to break the rooms, into groups, and students have to work into groups. So I'm wondering if in AltsSpace we can, use the jigsaw classroom technique. So maybe this could be very helpful for me to use AltsSpace, in this course. So
it's wonderful, and I'm gonna if you could mute yourself, I'll leave you on megaphone, but just mute yourself because everything I say is coming back and cycling through. There, thank you. They're cycling through the microphone. This is one of the problems in 2D. You have to have really good headphones. So when in this particular space is very bad for social interactions because it is a small contained space. So really you can have about 6 to 12 people in here with mute turned off and everyone talking, and your ears will want to just explode. It's like being at a very crowded party with too many people who've been drinking. So you end up yelling all the time. But there are many worlds and other template spaces that are much larger that allow some distance so people can move off to the side. Today, coming up in just a couple hours, which will be nighttime for you. No, it isn't. It will be, let me look here. It will be around, we've got daylight savings times, 8 or 9 o'clock. No, later than that, 9 or 10 p.m. Michael Zhang is going to be presenting our Educators in VR weekly workshop dealing with Dunbar's number theory and on relationships. And we're going to be using our Educators in VR training facility, which is not this, because it has a lot of space that people can move out, and he wants to break people into small groups. And so that works well. Another way is to actually create a series of linked events spaces or rooms that you can say, okay, team 1, you go to world 1, you go to world 2, and so on. And then you make sure that they come back. And there's ways of doing that. So they can do things that we teach a workshop called immersive classrooms. And I tell people, especially educators, find ways to let your students do their homework in VR. So for example, if Take People To is called The Last Glacier, and that is a world that I built that explores it was designed for Earth Day last year. It's still being used as a teaching space right now, that talks about the glaciers, the impact of climate change, the science of glaciers, like why are glaciers green, and what chemical process happens with it. And it also has an ice cave that I built, which there are very few ice caves that are left in the world, and what's the value in having the ice caves and protecting them. And I actually, right near where I grew up, there were ice caves that I used to grow up exploring and camping in, and they actually are now artificial. Not quite the same because there's no ice snow down at that level anymore. In the past as well. And I say, think about what went into this massive research. I learned about the fact that glaciers have different names. I mean, this was a very simple project, but glaciers, the geological structure and the anatomy of a glacier has different names. You have to research those, and then you could do science, you could do educational information. There's many ways of doing these things that help to be the result of the research and the planning and the structures and whatever else you want to make, and let the students let their imagination fly and work in teams to do that. So you can unmute yourself now. I think you're still in Meg. Does any of this work? And does any of this work out for you? Just hit the microphone and turn it from red to clear. Let me make sure you're back. Oh, there. Now you're on megaphone again.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Thank you. I'm trying to explore. I took notes, and I will try to explore. We are very much interested in immersive classroom as well. You know, so I will try, and maybe we can, you know, we can be in touch, you know, to see how these things all will work.
Love it. And make sure that you join our Educators in VR Discord, because we're having conversations about this as we work together. Also letting you know, so all right, I'm going to unmute you because of the echo. Also know that we also have, and that's the last question. I'm going to unmute everybody here now. We have, so anybody else, you can come up down. I'll just stay up on the stage so you can hear me, but you can come on up here. And if you want to get up on the stage, I've removed the stage blocker so you can get up and feel what it's like to be on the stage if you want. But Michael McDonald, who is in charge, we have different projects under Educators in VR. He does the language learning, and he is going to be doing 24 hours in VR language learning. Fundraiser, I don't know how to pronounce the town, Lesse, L-E-S-S-E, for the Red Cross there that's doing all kinds of you know, helping with the coronavirus and the COVID-19. And so he on March 24 hours in VR working on language learning technique. He is a teacher in Italy who's from the UK, who's been living there for many, many years, teaching language, English and other languages. And so 24 hours is amazing. Michael McDonald, we're going to be posting the information up on the AltspaceVR calendar here pretty soon. And also, it's amazing the things he's going to do to teach non-stop language art. On talking about all different subjects from all different kinds of languages in 24 hours. It's going to be amazing. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything on that screen? That giant screen behind you?